And it's time now to begin the first panel discussion of the day. So the topic of discussion is need for integrating 21st century skills such as critical thinking and problem solving into the K-12 curriculum to prepare students for the future. Kindly note, the panel discussion floor would be open for the Q&A session later. And now I would like to introduce the panelists of the first panel discussion for the North Educators Summit 2023. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce the first panelist, Ms. Mamta Sharma, Principal of Kothari International School. Before she joins us on stage, I would like to give a brief introduction of Ms. Mamta Sharma. So she is a visionary in the field of education and has been actively defining the shifting borders of school education with her ideas that germinated during her long, rich experiences in few of the most premium institutions nationally and internationally. She believes that today's school education must strive to become an experience towards the creation of thinkers and action takers. Armed with masters in chemistry and the latest pedagogies in education from the IOE London, she has served as the principal in Modi School, Lakshmangarh, Savai Man Singh School, Jaipur, where her work towards fostering international mindedness has provided the schools with new dimensions. With a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome on stage Ms. Mamta Sharma. So, ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Mamta Sharma could not be with us here today. So, moving on, I would like to introduce the next panelist.
Sorry, I'm interrupting you, Rahul. Dear educators, in case you have been outside interacting with our sponsors or something like that and you have missed out on the award, which I have one or two people who had missed the award. So we will announce those two awards after this panel so that we do not miss on anything. And in case in the further categories also, you have been outside or networking with someone and you have missed the award will be announced only during the lunchtime. We will not be breaking the sequence. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So I would like to introduce the next panelist, Dr. Neelima Kamrah, Principal, KIIT World School, Gurugram. Before she joins us on stage, I would like to give a brief introduction. So Dr. Neelima Kamrah, a person with strong grit and determination, has been completely dedicated to the cause of education for more than 25 years. She firmly believes in providing a conducive environment for children to nurture their creativity so that they emerge as positive, happy, and confident global citizens. Being an academician par excellence herself, she's been involved in many professional development programs that have led her to many universities in different parts of the world. With a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome on stage Dr. Neelima Kamrah. The next panelist is Ms. Pallavi Sharma, Principal, Mamta Modern Sr.sec School. Currently working as the Principal for Mamta Modern School, New Delhi, India, she is the recipient of the following awards and recognitions. CBSE National Principal Award in the year 2019, State Award by Delhi Government for Invaluable Contribution in the year 2015 and 16, CBSE Mentor Principal Award 2011 by CBSE for Commendable Service, received numerous awards and recognitions by various forums and magazines like Forum of Public Schools, Lions Club, National Child and Women Development Trust, and Action Committee, to name a few. I would like to, ladies and gentlemen, let's have a huge round of applause for our second panelist, Pallavi Sharma. Next up is Ms. Priyanka Gulati, Principal, Evergreen Public School. A dynamic leader, systemic thinker, Priyanka Gulati is a complete people's person. She's been working as the principal of a reputed school of East Delhi since the last 12 years and is dearly loved by her students and staff for her caring, compassionate nature, and dynamic leadership acumen. She has and continues to win many reputed awards and accolades. She was a member to the Indian delegation to the Republic of Malta in 2013, Rome and Bhutan in 2019 to build stronger ties between the countries in the field of education. Let's hear it, ladies and gentlemen, from Ms. Priyanka Gulati. Next up, it gives me immense pleasure to introduce you all to Dr. Sangeeta Arora, Principal, Kothari International School, experienced principal with a demonstrated history of working in the education management industry, skilled in coaching, educational technology, instructional design, management, strong education professional with a doctorate, Master of Philosophy, focused in mathematics education from Jamia Millia Islamia. Let's have a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for Dr. Sangeeta Arora. Last but not the least, I would like to introduce the panelist, Mr. Vividh Gupta, Principal, Bal Bhavan Public School. Mr. Vividh Gupta, Principal of Bal Bhavan Public School, aims to empower educators to perform to the best of their proficiencies, edging along with the advancements of times and techniques. He is a self-motivated and self-driven individual with respect to taking initiative towards social concerns and causes, and is a contributor to the development of positive mindsets in uplifting the society. So he is also the moderator for this panel discussion. Let's have a huge round of applause for all the panelists, ladies and gentlemen. And now over to Mr. Vividh Gupta to take this forward.
Thank you. Thank you so much. A very good morning to all of you. I think it is a very beautiful morning where all of us are sitting in a hall and deliberating on the issues like 21st century learning skills for our students. The education today has set the platform for all of us where we are not only getting the recognition for what we are doing at our schools, but also given an opportunity to speak our voice in such a wonderful forum. So I first of all welcome all the panelists to the dais, Neelima ma'am, Pallavi ma'am, Sangeeta ma'am, and Priyanka ma'am. So thank you so much for joining us here. And the panel one is on the topic, need for integrating 21st century skills such as critical thinking and problem solving into the K-12 curriculum to prepare students for the future. And I think since 2020, when we have had national education policy coming up on our tables, and we have been discussing and talking about this very issue right from the COVID period. And the need itself is stated in the national education policy. I would want to state it here. NEP 2020 elaborates on the aim of education. And the aim of education will not only be cognitive development, but also building character and creating holistic and well-rounded individuals equipped with the key 21st century skills. So today our attempt will be to look into what these 21st century skills are and how are we honing these skills back at our schools. So we have reputed and renowned educationist leaders, school leaders with us today. And let's start with Ms. Pallavi Sharma to give her introduction, the first round for the introduction for all the panelists, post which we'll start with the question answers.
Thank you, Vividh. Greetings to all. Good morning. I'm Mrs. Pallavi Sharma, and I'm principal of Mamta Modern School. And I think I'm a strong believer of the importance of the 21st century skills in today's times. And I'm sure during the panel discussion, we'll take this point further.
Sangeeta ma'am, please. Dr. Sangeeta.
Namaskar, I am Dr. Sangeeta Arora. I'm heading Kothari International School. I consider myself an educationist and been working in the educational field from the last 30 years. And I believe that the learning will be there in the students if it is joyful learning. So my aim is to have a happy school where everybody who is working over there is working with joy and happiness, because when the people are happy, when the students are happy, they're able to learn better. Thank you.
Great. Priyanka ma'am, please, can you please introduce yourself?
Thank you, Vividh. I'm Priyanka Gulati from Evergreen Public School. And as a principal, what I do. I'm also, along with that, I'm also happiness, mindfulness coach. I'm also an internationally certified Heal Your Life's healer. And also along with that, I am also a neuro-linguistic programmer coach. So as Dr. Sangeeta believes, I also believe that happiness in school is one of the most important thing. And that is what I try to bring happiness amongst my teachers and my students. Thank you.
Great. Dr. Neelima, please.
गुड मॉर्निंग एवरीवन, नमस्कार। मैं तहे दिल से एजुकेशन टुडे और विभा जी का धन्यवाद देती हूँ कि उन्होंने ये प्लेटफॉर्म हमारे लिए क्रिएट किया जिसमें हम आमने सामने एक दूसरे से बात कर सकें। सुबह सुबह इतने सारे लोग बैठे हैं, उसके लिए बहुत इनकरेजमेंट है। हमें पता है स्कूल में कितना काम होता है एंड इट्स नॉट ईजी टू लीव आवर प्रेमिसेस लाइक दैट। आई एम डॉक्टर नीलिमा कमरा, प्रिंसिपल KIIT World School, Sona Road, Gurugram. I'm a learner myself. My PhD is in multiple intelligence, so I believe each one of us is a promise and each one of us is a possibility. That's our full faith. And I turn to learn from each one, whether it's parent, student, or my colleagues. And today, again, I'm here to learn something good with all of you. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, ladies, for the wonderful introduction that you have given us. So with that note, we start our discussion, panel discussion. And yes. All right, I'll introduce myself. I am Vividh Gupta, principal at Bal Bhavan Mayur Vihar, and I'm a passionate learner. And as Neelima ma'am has also mentioned that, I believe in learning from every small experience that come across, be it with our students, with our parents, with our teachers, and from my dear colleagues and educators like you. So I'm here again, not moderating, but learning from all my fellow panelists this morning. Great. So on that note, we start with our panel discussion. So since we are talking about 21st century skills, it is said that the only skill that will be important in the 21st century is the skill of learning, new skills, and everything else will become obsolete over time. So, Pallavi ma'am, my first question goes to you. Why do you think it is important to integrate 21st century skills like critical thinking and problem solving in K-12 curriculum?
Thank you, Vividh. We as educators, I think we'll all agree that times are changing. We talk about 21st century. We are in the 21st century. A lot of changes are happening. Just today morning, when I was driving down, I was reading some posts, and I saw this post that said, "Rest in peace, web designers. AI has taken over designing everything." Now, students who are entrusted into our care, 14 years hence, there are many, many jobs, many opportunities that will not be available, and we as educators need to understand we are not preparing them for any job market which we probably know about. We are preparing them for things we do not know about. The future is very uncertain. COVID has shown us how uncertain things are. What would have happened had we not been prepared during COVID? How would we have changed? How would we have given resilience to ourselves, to our students? These are questions we need to ask, introspect and ask ourselves. As educators, what are we preparing children for? At times we used to say, you know, the job market has a variety of jobs, but now we are preparing children with skills that will help them in the job market in the future to be ready to accept, adapt, adopt anything that is available at that time. So for that, I feel these skills, when we talk about critical thinking, when we talk about problem solving, they are the base. How would I be able to collaborate? How would I be able to have digital literacy, media literacy, any kind of 21st century skill, unless I am strong in thinking critically, unless I'm able to solve problems. Chandrayaan 2 happened. I won't say it was a failure, but yes, we didn't make that landing on Chandrayaan 2. What would have happened if we had not been able to think critically and innovate and improve? That success for Chandrayaan 3 would not have been possible. So I think it's very important in today's times that children have this skill integrated into the curriculum. You cannot give skills to children by teaching them the skill. It needs to be a part of our curriculum. It needs to be a part of our daily lives where children make it a habit. It becomes a habit. It becomes a part of their discipline where they are able to think critically. They are able to find out, know what they want to do from the very basic stages. Starting kindergarten to 12th, I think it is very important we prepare Gen Z for future uncertain. So
Certainly,
I rest
certainly.
my point there.
Fantastic. So I think the point that we've all been hearing, that the jobs that will be there in 2030, probably we are not preparing our children for those jobs. And the kind of jobs that we seek after 2030, today is the time when we have to start working on those skills, skill development at our school so that the children are future ready, as ma'am has rightly pointed out. So Dr. Sangeeta Arora, my question to you on the same line, how do critical thinking and problem solving benefit students in the future career? Because ma'am has just pointed out that, you know, why is it important for us to talk about that? How do you see that the problem solving and critical thinking, critical skills will help the children obtain good jobs in the future and their future will be secure?
Thank you. It's a very relevant question. We all know that, and there is a research which is available, and we have all read it, that in future, the children are not only going to change their jobs, they're going to change the occupation, their profession. So how you can change the profession when you have these two these skills with you, the 21st century skills with you. So when we talk about problem solving and critical thinking, let's take these two examples. Right. When you have these skills with you, that, you know, ignites a curiosity in you, because if you see a problem, you are able, and you have those skills with you, that ignites a curiosity. Now with that, you do research. Now that research skill will come to you when you have these two skills with you. With the research skills, the decision making will be coming to you. With that, the children will be able to, and anybody, we are, you know, we can all vouch for that, that with that we are able to take up different cognitive learning. We are able to put this up in our bags. So if we have these two skills, we are able to have more learning. With that learning, we are able to solve the problem, and we can change the different profession if we want to, because we have these two skills with you. Now, along with that, it's not only the job and the career, it is also about the life skills. Now, we know it through the COVID, whoever is able to, you know, survive is a person who has got high emotional quotient and high adversity quotient, because this is the fourth quotient which came into light when we have this COVID. So whoever has a high adversity quotient is able to sail through. The person who is having the critical thinking and the problem solving skill will automatically have high emotional quotient and high adversity quotient. That improves relationship, because you don't go into jargon, you're critically able to think whenever there is a, you know it, we have these kind of a thing in our emotional life. If you're able to look at the situation critically and you're able to see where the problem is, you will not go into depression, you will not go into thinking that the whole world is against you. You are able to find out what is the problem and you are able to deal with it.
Yes.
So it improves your self-esteem also.
Correct.
So I would say it's not only about the career, it gives you the life skill for your whole of your life. So all these things will only come when we develop these skills in our students from early life only, that is in the school education, because that's a protected environment.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sangeeta, for your valuable insight on that. So, dear spectators, viewers, educators, we have understood that teaching and talking about the skills today, 21st century skills, is very, very important and prominent at our schools. So let us move to Dr. Neelima Kamrah and understand from her as to, ma'am, what kind of teaching approaches do you suggest the educators to adapt in the classroom so that these skills can be catered to along with the curriculum that they're going to teach in the classroom?
Thank you so much, Vividh, for asking this question to me. We all know there are various techniques through which we can approach the classroom. I would say 15, 20, 30, which we all are using in the classrooms every day. Rather than that, I would like to take you to two classrooms. One is of class 11th, where we are teaching angular momentum. So the teacher did what? That she took them to the playground. She brought the skates and gave them the skates, and to one set of the students, she gave one question that in which case the skater will be rolling fast, when the hands are tucked in or when hands are outward. So now they have to do it, understand, and find out and give the feedback, which is the situation where the angular momentum is maximum. So this is the learning for life. And this was the classroom of class 11th. I take you to the second classroom, which is of class 6th. The topic is going on as climate change. The topic of discussion for that day is AQI, Air Quality Index, which is very, very hot topic. Now the teacher is saying what we can do to reduce the problem of this air quality. And the instant answer from the students was that we can plant more plants, ma'am. To cut the long story short, I would say after a lot of discussion, they created a wall which was called as Wall of Kindness.
Nice.
And through the Wall of Kindness, in 3 days, to nearby societies, they touched 2,500 families. And 2,500 plants were planted in just 3 days.
Wonderful.
By the help of nearby people.
Residents.
So, this is what is the power of students, which we can do together as it is. मैं तो ये कहना चाहूँगी, किसी ने खूब कहा है, पैर में जब कांटा चुभता है तो खुद से निकलता है, पैर में जब कांटा चुभता है तो खुद से निकलता है, लेकिन मुश्किलों से जो लड़ता है वो इतिहास बदलता है. Thank you so much.
Very nice. Thank you, Dr. Neelima. So, since ma'am has talked about, the consciousness that will be created amongst the children through the 21st century skills, let's move to Dr. Priyanka Gulati. And ma'am, we would want to understand from you that if we are talking about 21st century skills, do you think that it is going to only be limited to developing that critical angle and acumen amongst the children? Or is it going to make them more responsible towards the society? And what kind of changes do we see in the upcoming generation if we introduce these skills in our classrooms?
Thank you, Vividh. That's a wonderful question. I personally believe that humanity, first of all, it is important that humanity must stop looking for the answers, but must start thinking in the terms of questions. So when you ask what next, what if, what now, how, why, the thought process itself changes. And when the thought process changes, automatically we have a critical thinking. And when you have a critical thinking, it leads to a decision making. And when we talk about decision making, we do not realize, but unconsciously we take so many decisions in life that impacts our life in a longer run. So when you have critical thinking or decision-making skills, 21st century skills, then you realize that you make a very fewer decisions in dark. Here I would quickly like to give you one example. The example, which probably many of you must have read in news, of a photographer who was in Sudan and taking a photograph of a malnourished child, and suddenly a vulture landed there to make him a prey. And when he was waiting for the perfect shot, to get that perfect shot so that he can get an award. He took that perfect shot and he got the award as well. But after getting the award, when people, asked him the question, asking him that what happened to that child after that? That child, he had no answer. He went into the guilt and he committed suicide. Had he had used this 21st century critical thinking, he would have taken a decision to bring that child, place him to the right person, give him to the right person, rather than waiting for that perfect shot. Critical thinking or these 21st century skills, we easily get influenced by the media. Media is so influencing so much our life that we forget to realize that what is the difference between facts and opinions. And we form opinion what other people are making in life. If our students are empowered with these 21st century skills, I'm sure that their family life, their future, their social life, everything is going to be rather very impactful because they can distinguish between facts and opinions. That's indeed very, very important. There's so many things. Do I have a time to speak more? Otherwise, I think.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for sharing that beautiful anecdote with us. So what I understand out of what you've said is that decision-making along with problem-solving and critical thinking is something which is very important.
Very important.
And also the role of media in creating that impact is something which is very important. So we move to Pallavi ma'am again, and ma'am, on the same lines, I want to understand from you, today, we see a lot of students dropping out from the formal schooling after completing their grade 10 because they want to prepare for the JEE and NEET and other examinations. And somehow, when we say that, we claim that we are actually honing the 21st century skills amongst our children at the middle classes, at the secondary classes. Do you think that this is going to impact what we are trying to achieve in our schools when the children will drop out, and that media hype and everything will actually create a problem in achieving the 21st century skills amongst the students and will have impact in acquiring right jobs for them?
Okay, thank you. Vividh, I think that's a question continuing with where I had stopped.
Yes.
So, yes, of course, because like I said, I'll just give you an example of myself. I was a student in India and I did my studies abroad. My college, my bachelor's I did from New York University. And when I was there was always one question. I was an excellent student in India. I did very well in the US, but I always lacked in places where we talked about research, where we talked about practical applications. Yes. I always had a back seat. And I always wanted that, higher education, we were not made to think on these lines. We were always into rote memorization. We were more into, doing questions and less into understanding the practical applications. I mean, how many of us have seen the practical graphical representation of integration and differentiation? Do we really understand why are we studying those topics in mathematics? How are they practically, graphically represented? And that is where we were, delving into in the US. And it was a big question for us that if this is what is happening, how will our students compete in the global world? We are not talking about India today. When you talk about education at the tertiary level, we are not only talking about Indian education system, we are talking about children who are moving abroad. And when we talk about this global market, for our children to be able to compete globally, it is important that they have the skills that are given worldwide. Otherwise, when we talk about Bharat, Sone ki Chidiya, the knowledge that has gone from our country, but what will happen if they are not able to compete? We will have to take that back seat once again. So it's very important in this changing global market, in this changing scenarios that we see. Like I was discussing in my first question, the profiles are changing, job profiles are changing. We have to have our children be ready for anything and everything that would happen in the future. And that is also being able to, because when we talk about college, in schools we are more probably basing, the results are important, but colleges do not focus so much on the theories. It is more research, more practical. That's how we want our children to do well. So university means more research, more, getting into the deeper knowledge systems, getting conceptual learning better. And that will not happen unless our children, again, like I said, have these skills as part of their discipline.
Correct.
They will not be able to cope up in college, university, or in the job market, which is, again, like I said, very unpredictable, very uncertain, unless our children are skilled in 21st century skills. And here I mean all, because they are all in a way. I cannot be a critical thinker and not be a good communicator. So overall, all the 21st century skills are very, very important in today's times for our children to compete in the global market, in the global university system, or in the job system that we have in today's time. So I think if we do not, we are going to see a big setback for the economy, because eventually it is the future, Gen Z, that will affect the economy, the Indian economy also at some time.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. That is a very, very important point. That's not only, critical thinking and decision-making and problem-solving, but there are other 21st century skills like communication, empathy, collaborative learning, and all these need to be catered to and addressed to in our classrooms today. So let's move to Dr. Sangeeta Arora and understand from her that, ma'am, what are the other essential 21st century skills that you are catering in your classrooms at your school, and how is it actually helping the students acquire the jobs at a after their higher education?
As you rightly pointed it out, that communication and collaboration is needed. Now, these are the learning skills. Now, wherever we have to work, we have to collaborate with others. Nobody can survive all alone. And as we all sitting over here in the leadership role, Hindi mein bhi kahavat hai, akela chana bahar nahi bhoj sakta. We all have to work together. So it's your team which is working for you. It's a collaboration and the communication which is happening constantly in your school and in any working place where then only the things comes out in a manner that we want to. So when we do it in the classroom, it's a collaborative work. Say I give you an example, and it can be done in at any level. So I'm just taking the lowest level where they say they're small, how can do the collaborative work, how they can communicate over there. So we have done it in our classroom. This is the grade 1 children. They've gone to zoo, and we have taken a pre-excursion, what they know about the different animals, because we are all been doing it. When they came back, again, there was a post one. Now they all sat in the group and they all know about the habitat of the animals. So they draw it out, they cut it out, they made their own zoo. Now in that way, this is coming where we are able to see whether the children have understood the habitat. They made their own zoo and it has been hanged over there. They have used about the habitat. So this is again the communication in that particular group. And just think about the joy of the children when they have created their own zoo, thinking about their own animals that they want to put it up. But along with that, we also need the literacy. Now, literacy is not about reading and writing, and arithmetic, which was there earlier. Now, in this digital world, we need to have that information, media, and the computer literacy. How to deal with media and information is very, very important. Now, if we don't get this skill, if we don't have those skills, we are not able to survive. And all of you, we have learned it. It has come to us in phases. We are not born into it. Now, think about the children. They're born into this kind of a thing where there is the media onslaught, there is an information onslaught, how to take out the relevant things from there. Now it is needed. We need to talk about it. You need to put it. You can't teach this. You have to bring it integrated within the subjects when you are doing it, doing the research. Now, again, there is a social skills which are needed over there. As you rightly pointed out, the empathy needs to be there. When we talk about the social skill, the teamwork, which you need to bring it out, the respect for the diversity, because I think in today's world, we are getting more polarized. We are more opinionated. We don't want to respect the other person, point of view. Now, I give you an example over here to how it humbled me. I just was traveling to Europe, and this is the Switzerland. There are 6 languages written on the board, and I was able to read only one. That's English. Now, that doesn't make me uneducated. It's only thing that I don't know that language. Now, think about it. In our country, there are many tribals which are there, the different languages. If they're not able to read English, if they're not able to read Hindi, doesn't mean that they're uneducated. Now, that kind of a respect, we need to bring it to our children. Now, all these things, if we say 21st century skills or any century skills, this needs to be there in our students, and we can bring it in the classroom when we are teaching our children, and that has to be real life context. Most of us are doing it, but when we bring it, this comes automatically get integrated in our curriculum. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, ma'am. So basically what we can gather from what you just mentioned, ma'am, is that the illiterate in the 21st century will not be people who cannot read and write, but those who are actually not able to learn, unlearn, and relearn. So, these 3 things would be very, very important and prominent in today's time. And when we talk about, national curriculum framework that recently came out, it is also talking to us about the holistic progress report card. And when we talk about holistic progress report card, it is actually giving us the power and autonomy to evaluate and assess the children on the critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, communication, and whatnot. So my next question is to Dr. Neelima Kamrah on the same lines that, assessments needs to be very effective. And what measures do you think can be, what kind of hand-holding can we give to our staff, to our teachers, to actually assess the children on these parameters? Because sometimes what happens is that this becomes, you've given the grading system and the teachers would randomly give A, B, and C. And without even finding out what is there beneath the blanket. And until and unless that is uncovered, we do not know the smartness, the prominency of the child. So what's your take on that, ma'am?
I would say this is a very, very important question. As an educator, we need to change our way of assessment also for giving this holistic progressive report card. And I wouldn't say that it's limited just to teachers. It's with the parents also involvement that we have to bring in what happens after the school.
Correct.
That parameter has to be seen. घर जाकर बच्चे बैग अपना वापस अपनी जगह रखते हैं कि कपड़े फेंक के बैठ जाते हैं. And then somebody coming up and picking up the things. Do they pick their water glass or somebody takes this up? So we need to assure that part. क्योंकि हमारा जो system है, it's not just single school kind of a thing. It's integrated. तो progressive report card में हमें बहुत सी चीज़ों को और बहुत से आयामों को बदलने की ज़रूरत है. क्योंकि हम अगर देखें ना, तो एक बहुत important factor कहा जाता है. कहा जाता है कि मैं अपने आप को मुमकिन तब पाता हूँ जब मेरे रब के बाद मैं अपने माता पिता को जानता हूँ. तो it's not just one school which is together. It is with the parent. So the holistic progressive report card has to be integrated with teachers and the parents. That then we can bring the change.
Great. So, that's very important to mention here that, when we talk about 21st century speakers, the learners, it is very important that as teachers and as parents, we are also prepared with those 21st century skills. So I think that a teacher who's a 21st century teacher will be able to replicate that in the classroom very smartly. My last question to Priyanka ma'am. Ma'am, in what ways can educators strike a balance between nurturing traditional subject knowledge and emphasizing 21st century skills in the classroom? So there are two sides of it, the traditional subjects and this 21st century that we are talking about today. And if we give the teachers the liberty, they probably will, give weightage to one thing more. So there is a need for that, striking that right balance. How would you, suggest that to your teachers?
So when we talk about traditional teaching, we all know what it is for us. It was more student-centric. So it was more teacher-centric, I'm sorry. It was more teacher-centric. And how did it used to go? A teacher would present in the class, her contents, child would rote learn it, and then present it back in an examination, getting a certain grades, and then promotion granted. Where was this learning? But when we talk about 21st century skills, it's more about child-centric, student-centric. So students here are led to explore, expand their vision, and that's what it is. Time up. What do I do now?
We'll take one more minute, ma'am.
Okay.
You can complete your thing.
So just winding up because I've been given a signal. But then there are so many ways in which we can lead a class into a student-centric class, like a flipped classroom. Just one example, and I'll wind up with that example. In a flipped classroom, when we are giving a student, I'm not talking about flipped classroom where we are doing that child coming up as a teacher and teacher becoming a student. No, I'm not talking about that. A flipped classroom where students are given a topic to ponder upon at home, for example, cybersecurity. And then a student is called in a class, a group is made, and out of that group, they are working, the case study is given to them. A case study where child is exploring, the group is exploring, the case is given that a 14-year girl has shared her personal intimate photographs with some unknown Facebook friend. And now that boy is blackmailing. So what is happening? They are doing group possibilities, they are finding a possible solutions, and then presenting in class. So this is giving a 360-degree exposure to the students that how and what are the possibilities. So this is just a one way. There are so many ways where we can talk about, but since time is up and I've been given a very limited time, Vividh, not done.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
I think, this is one topic where we can keep discussing throughout the day. And what I would want to close down with ma'am's note is that, what I understood here is, ma'am, integration, subject integration and multidisciplinary approach is something which is very, very important today. And if we are able to bring that in our classroom, this problem can be addressed very easily. So I think that's it, audience. I think you've had wonderful speakers here, and we've got an insight on how we can actually delve into 21st century classrooms back at our schools. Hope you have enjoyed this session. Thank you. Thank you so much. Over to the host.
Well, that was a wonderful discussion. I would request the panelists to please be on stage. We all thoroughly enjoyed it, didn't we? I would now request Mr. Anil Sharma to kindly join us on stage to felicitate the panelists. Let's have a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for all the panelists. It was indeed a wonderful discussion and we all thoroughly enjoyed it. And I'm sure we have taken back a lot from the same. Thank you so much to all the panelists, and thank you, Mr. Anil Sharma, for felicitating.